So, President Trump was on the 11th hole at Mar-a-Lago when the folder landed in his lap. He didn't like folders. They usually meant decisions, questions, or worse, other people's ideas. This one had red tape on it. That meant classified. That meant someone thought it was important, which meant Trump was already annoyed. He peeled it open like it was a Happy Meal. And there it was. Elon Musk, approved for Pentagon briefing. He didn't move, didn't blink, just stared at the name like it had personally insulted him. "Elon's doing what?" he muttered, louder than he intended. The Secret Service agent next to him pretended not to hear. The caddy ran. Trump stood up, dropped his driver, and stared into the Florida sun. He invited himself to the Pentagon, he said, this time with the booming cadence of a man who once renamed a hurricane. He invited himself to the Pentagon. Back at the White House, the staff had already gone into code red, which, in Trump terms, meant hiding the remote. Because when Trump got mad, he didn't throw punches. He threw remotes and tweets and sometimes chicken nuggets. But there were no remotes to be found, only questions. Why was Elon going to the Pentagon? To discuss war scenarios with China. Trump's jaw dropped. War scenarios? With China? With my China? He didn't even like China, but it was the principle. Elon doesn't even have a uniform or a flag. He doesn't salute. He doesn't even play golf. Someone tried to explain that it wasn't a war meeting. It was just a classified briefing. Classified my arse? Trump growled. Elon's probably pitching rocket launchers that run on Dogecoin. In a way, he wasn't wrong, because according to an internal memo that Trump definitely wasn't supposed to see, Elon had proposed a system called Defensive X. It involved space drones, submarine satellites, and something called the Mars option, in case Earth became inconvenient. Trump's face turned orange-red, not the usual shade. This was deeper, angrier, like a creamsicle possessed by rage. He called a meeting immediately. "Only real military people," he said. "No tech bros, no Tesla owners, and no one who's ever used a Neuralink." In the Situation Room, he sat at the head of the table and began sketching. "I want a new executive order. Ban billionaires from military meetings, unless they have clearance from me, personally, with a signature and a photo." "What about Elon?" someone asked. I just said no, especially Elon. He's on the billionaire watch list. That was a real thing now. The billionaire watch list, compiled by Jared, updated weekly. Bezos was on it. So was Zuckerberg, but mostly because of the way he blinked. And now, Musk was public enemy number one. Trump held up a paper. "This is the new protocol. If a billionaire shows up at the Pentagon, you ask 3 questions. 1. Are you supposed to be here? 2. Are you Elon Musk? 3. Get out." The room applauded. They didn't mean it. But clapping made Trump happy, and happiness meant fewer 3 a.m. calls demanding an aircraft carrier be named after him. Meanwhile, Elon wasn't taking it well. He posted a cryptic tweet. "Pentagon vibes are off. Might build my own." Then he deleted it. Then he reposted it with a poll. "Should I build my own Pentagon?" Options, yes. Only with lasers. Already did. Millions voted, including Trump. He picked no, then replied, "You're banned." The next morning, Elon tried again. He sent over a PowerPoint to the White House titled, "How I Would Run the Pentagon Better and Cheaper." Slide 1. Eliminate chairs. Standing burns more calories. Slide 2. Replace Joint Chiefs with AI-generated avatars named Steve. Slide 3. Launch all major decisions via SpaceX app. Slide 4. If China acts up, tweet at them in Mandarin using GPT-7. Trump read it, then screamed. "He's trying to take over the military!" He demanded another meeting, this time in the Mar-a-Lago ballroom. It looked like Versailles, if Versailles was designed by a casino manager with a glitter fetish. "From now on," Trump declared, "we hold our own Pentagon meetings, right here, with real Americans." Present were Sylvester Stallone, Vice President probably, Kid Rock, Secretary of Culture, Mike Lindell, in charge of maps, and animatronic Ronald Reagan, recently installed next to the dessert cart. Trump stood at the front and saluted, not the proper way, more like a wave that got confused halfway. "We don't need Elon's AI. We got American I. That stands for I do what I want." The crowd, all 12 of them, erupted in cheers. One of them may have been a Roomba. But nothing at Mar-a-Lago happened quietly for long. Word spread that Trump was assembling the real Joint Chiefs on the back patio. And within hours, a parade of Trump loyalists, MAGA influencers, and a handful of confused local golfers had gathered around the pool, craning to hear strategy. General Flynn showed up in sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt. He had ideas, none of them written down. "Let's out-tweet them," he suggested, meaning China, but the line was fuzzy. Lindell unrolled a map of the United States. "We'll need pillows at every key border," he said, "for comfort, but also for defense." Someone handed Trump a walkie-talkie, which he used to demand Diet Coke from across the property. "This is how you run a military," he declared. "You ask, you receive, you dominate." Meanwhile, at the Pentagon, an emergency email pinged through every inbox. Urgent. Verify identity of all visitors. Check for Neuralink ports. Elon, undeterred, sent a fleet of self-driving Teslas to do laps around the building. Just slow enough to be annoying, but fast enough to make security sweat. Each car blared a custom Musk soundtrack. Half synthwave, half SpaceX rocket launch countdown. Reporters camped outside for sound bites. The most they got was Kid Rock in a borrowed jacket shouting, "America first, except maybe Mars. Mars is fine." Inside Mar-a-Lago, the military summit dissolved into chaos when the animatronic Reagan short-circuited during an impromptu Q&A about tariffs. "I remember when tariffs were just taxes with hats on," the robot droned, then spun in a circle, alarming at least 2 Secret Service agents and a passing Pelican. Trump, frustrated by the lack of order and the lack of cameras, ordered Stallone to take the lead. "Rocky, show them how it's done," he said. Stallone, still not fully sure what was happening, recited the Gettysburg Address from memory. The crowd clapped. Trump grinned. Elon, watching the live stream, couldn't resist. He hacked the Mar-a-Lago Wi-Fi and replaced all the TV feeds with SpaceX launch footage. The guests cheered, thinking it was a new Trump initiative. Moments later, tiny drones, shaped like miniature Cybertrucks, buzzed through the ballroom, dropping Elon-branded hats and USB drives labeled War Plans 2.0, now with less humanity. Trump ducked. Lindell tried to catch one with a pillow. Stallone punched the air. The animatronic Reagan short-circuited again and muttered, "I'm too old for this cyber crap." Now fully convinced that Elon was everywhere, Trump demanded a new military branch. "Space Social Media Force," he said. "Their only job is to keep Elon away from the buttons." Jared, desperate to keep the peace, suggested inviting Elon to a friendship summit. No briefings, just golf, burgers, and maybe a cage match in the Mar-a-Lago basement. Trump refused. "He'll just tweet about it," Trump snapped, "then sell hats." In response, Elon live-streamed himself assembling a Pentagon-shaped model out of Lego bricks and launching it on a mini-rocket from his backyard, declaring, "This is the future of national defense. Lightweight, modular, and mostly for show. Back at Mar-a-Lago, Trump watched the footage and threw the remote at the TV. It bounced off the animatronic Reagan, who glitched and started reciting lines from old Bonanza reruns. As the sun set, Trump wandered out onto the golf course, muttering about loyalty, boundaries, and the dangers of billionaires with too many ideas. He ripped the original folder in half, turned to Stallone, and said, "Get me a laser." No one knew what he meant, but they knew better than to ask. And somewhere in a Tesla orbiting Earth, a small screen lit up. Elon's war simulation version 1.2, now running. Because Elon didn't need the Pentagon's approval, he already had the code. This is the irony. And that's the irony. So, disclaimer. This video is a work of satire and fiction. It is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be interpreted as fact, news, or a representation of real events. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental.